Ready? I should probably get water before we start. All right. All right, good evening. Welcome to the City of Sandwich Committee of the Whole meeting. Tonight is Monday, October 20th, 7 p.m. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Kirky, please call the roll.
Alderman Arnett,
Here.
Alderman Chun,
Here.
Alderman Danko,
Here.
Alderwoman Erickson. Here. Alderwoman Inman. Here. Alderman Ketchum,
Here.
Alderman Kreinbrink,
Here.
and Alderman Robinson.
All right, the only thing I have for my report is that with trick-or-treating coming up, I just ask that all residents stay off the Main Street construction area. We're doing our best to block that off, but they should all be careful with that. And so that is my request. I'm not saying you can't go to somebody's house if you live there, but the sidewalks are closed and the street, for the most part, is not passable for most cases, especially with anyone with small children. Also, I'd ask all of our residents to be careful and try to look for other places trick-or-treat this year for safety purposes. Attorney report?
I got sidetracked.
I don't have anything at this time.
City clerk report?
Okay, I have a few things. I have received the Forest Preserve budget and DeKalb County budget for public viewing. This is for the 2026 budget. It will be up at City Hall. Just for reference purposes, 82 shut-offs went out today. We're swamped. Turn-offs are tomorrow. Saturday is the chamber trick-or-treat. I volunteered. I didn't draw the short straw. So if anybody would like to help, it's 12 to 5, or 5, oh Lord, no. 12 to 2 down here at City Hall. And I'm just going to say very briefly, I'd mentioned at the last meeting about landlord-tenant billing. I'm still pursuing that. I'm getting additional information, which I did pass out from Crestwood. They are non-home rule, and I believe their population is about 9,000. So it kind of gives you an idea what other communities are doing, and Cassandra and I will continue to pursue that before making a recommendation to the council.
City administrator report?
Good evening. Just wanted to bring you up to speed on a few items. I know some of the stuff I didn't send out to this morning. I was having some problems with my email, but in case you didn't get a chance to look at it, the Opera House Gutter Project, we had a pre-construction meeting on October 15th. We'll be working with All American Exterior Solutions and have been in contact with the Opera House staff to try to make sure that we're working together on that and that everything will there are a number of shows that are coming up, and we made sure the contractor was aware of that and can accommodate it. So I'm confident that's going to get going here real soon. Kurt's going to talk about the Safe Routes to School grant, I'm sure. Latham Street, we're still trying to get that closed out. There are some final things that HLR are working with Berger on as far as final quantities. So they're hoping to get that wrapped up relatively soon. The wastewater treatment plant project, we finally got the digester repair done. We've kind of talked about that on and off since probably February. That was estimated at $67,000. It came in at $50,730. So we are pleased with that. We've got some final numbers we can be wrapping up here pretty quick on that project and have that done. This is a blast from the past. We got notification this week that the state finally accepted our Little Rock Creek watershed plan. I believe that started, Rich, you may have to correct me, was that 2021 or was that before that that started? Okay. Yeah, It was a project Tom Horick worked on very closely with a lot of other agencies, the Kendall County Forest Preserve, DeKalb County Stormwater Committee, Sandwich Park District. I mean, there was about 15 of them. We've had a draft copy of it for all this time, but the actual, during COVID, the Department of Natural Resources and the IEPA, they let go of a lot of their staff. So it took till now for them to actually review it and send it back and say, yes, it's okay, good to go. So now we just need to take draft off, or figure out how to take draft off it. All the people who worked at the engineering firm that did it are no longer there. So, but it is good because now we have a plan for that. There'll be some projects that can come from that and some other opportunities to be able to secure grant money for those types of things. So the rest of it are things that we'll talk about during the meeting. So I'd entertain any questions. I did include in one of the things our calendar for the budget this year. This is tentative at this point, but we want to start getting going on that. We're going to be talking levy in the next couple meetings, and then we'll go from there. That's all.
Okay, questions for Jeff? All right. City reports, CMA Director Tony Eberly.
So last Saturday, we supported Mutual Aid for Cortland for their annual parade. And then yesterday, we participated in the fire department open house. We also were invited to participate in their silent parade honoring people who have died, firefighters and citizens. And just want to thank Chief Haggerty for letting us attend that. That's all that I have.
Okay, questions for Tony? All right, the chief is excused from the night's meeting as the day off.
There is a report that was submitted to everybody, a written report. So if anybody has any questions.
Okay, engineering, Kurt Detman.
All right, thank you. First of all, the Safe Routes to School grant is officially in. Got it on the deadline date, and thanks to all the citizens that participated, all the districts. Big thanks to the mayor for coordinating a lot of these things. It was a great effort. There were a lot of great things that came from this, almost 100 surveys, the school district, the principal, a lot of good things came from this. So we're feeling good, positive vibes on, this, should be good. And we will find out next May if they liked all of our submissions and are happy with the chance for us to get this grant. Secondly, Main Street improvements. Fisher keeps moving along with that, working hard to try to get the project done as soon as possible here. Their goal is to attempt to finish this year. So with the weather holding on, chances are still there. And then the lead service line repairs for the services, that continues. There aren't too many of them left. 2 contractors working out there, working to get things finished up there. And then various utilities such as Nicor trying to wrap their stuff up as well. So lots going on. And if there are any issues, just please, address them to myself. The contractors out there are doing everything they can to make sure that that the job site is safe and clean, and they're, dewatering, doing all their different things they try to do as much as possible to work the project well. Lastly, just want to mention that we have the Main Street Construction Engineering Assistance contract for you tonight, much less than the original dollar amount that we had previously. It is more for just the work from the beginning of the project related to the IDOT start of it with the pre-construction meeting all the way through various meetings throughout the project, any design assistance related to city engineering duties, and then through the end of the project, which will take and come into next year with restoration checks and punch lists and things like that. So that's all I have.
Okay, questions for Kurt? All right, unfinished business, 10A. Discussion and clarification on ordinance 202508, an ordinance amending chapter 98 zoning, article 5, supplemental regulations, section 98-145, airport area development of the city of Sandwich Municipal Code. So this goes back to our conversation about putting a special restrictions around the designated area by the council for special use. So this is some information that staff provided, was in your packet. Essentially the runway approach and then what a zone would look like around the airport with a 1,000-foot radius. So I'll open the floor up for just comments or questions on what was provided by staff. I have a few comments I sent back to Jeff, just to make sure that we all understand what the properties are around the airport. So if we put a special use, we know what that special use would be. And then the question I have for Jeff is I know we're looking at a zone, but I didn't see the need to extend a special use north of the tracks. One of it's our property anyway, and the other one is undeveloped. I'm thinking more in line with it needed to stay south of 34, more in line with the runway approach. Any comments?
I think the only area specifically for the special use would be the area of where the runway would be, because it all had to do with the height of the buildings, and that was the only concern. So I don't know if that would be, you know, in the color photo, if it's the blue lines or the gold lines, but I would say no more than just the blue at the absolute max, I would think. That would be the part that would be the special use, and I think it only needs to go to the end of probably, I don't know if that's immense property or what, but I think that's where it would start. I don't know if anything being built taller further east would make a difference or not. And there's existing buildings there, so.
And Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the question is whether or not there are specific types of businesses or buildings that you don't want there regardless of height. So are you okay with it being R1, R2, R3? Are you okay with it being, what is that currently zoned actually? Ag? Yeah, so if there was anything specific that the council didn't want to permit right in that area.
I don't think it would make sense to have residential there, but that's just me.
No, but there might be some specific types of businesses that aren't advantageous, like I think we had a call on a kennel.
Correct.
Which depends how you look at that being a busy intersection, if that's appropriate type of business there or not. I know it's a billboard farther down. If there were silos that maybe got closer, and that might be something we want to look at with the landing approach to that. Certainly, I think the Ament property is all fair game for a special use. So to me, that would take, I think there's a little bit of the corner still on the west side of Gletty. I don't know how much buildable space is there. But I kind of agree, Rich, we should be very pinpointed and finite, but there might be some things that we might decide don't really fit in that area and need to be someplace else. So maybe everybody could go take a look at the permitted uses for that particular area, and then see if there's some items you think just don't fit that. We're basically putting a special use on it, so we decide anyway, but there might be some things that give you a better context of what might go in there. Okay.
So it sounds like then the blue area is what we're talking about, then we're not talking about anything outside of that, correct? From the edge of the runway.
That's what I would think, but like I said, depends what the council thinks.
Yeah, essentially where the approach is.
And again, the only reason we're bringing this back is just, it says that it's a special use, but it doesn't say what area, and we just want to make sure that this is something that we don't scratch our heads on down the road.
And to be honest, I think the whole reason for the special use is just to have control over, to make sure that it doesn't skate by with the height type thing where all of a sudden now they can't be landing planes, they can't be doing whatever because of the height of the building there
Exactly.
for that entire subdivision.
So it sounds like we're gonna come back with the special use just for any properties that the blue lines touch. Okay. All right, next item is new business. This is discussion and water meter replacement and upgrades.
You'll start, or you'll fill in. Don was able to meet with us, the staff, and also our representative from United Systems to be able to talk about water meter replacement, and possibly, we had a presentation at our May 19th meeting and asked that we come back with some more detailed information later this fall. So I had rewritten a memo that went out today that kind of lays out some kind of the high end of what it could cost. We have 2,700 services currently. We're estimating that at this point, we've got about 2,000 that we probably would want to try to get onto this right away, and then gradually do the additional 700. There's some pricing in there. Don, did you want to add some more?
Well, what we had the meeting on the 8th, and I was present, Nick, Brad, Chris, Jeff, and, what was his name?
Brad. The second Brad.
Yeah. And basically what we're starting to find out is that the meters, some of our old meters they don't speed up, they're slowing down. We feel that they're slowing down. And for example, if someone's using 1,000 gallons of water, we're probably only billing them 500. I mean, this is probably where we're at. Second fold is looking at, we got better pricing from the original quote of 80,000. I think it's down to 59,000 to get the software initial cost to get this going. What I like about what they're doing with the software, it's all in the cloud. We don't have to maintain a computer. It's going to be a portal, a simple login. The other side advantage, if you remember, is the residents then could sign up and they could actually monitor, log into the portal with their username and password and see their water usage. You could also set up, let's say you go on vacation and someone came by and turned on your faucet, and all of a sudden you got a high flow rate, and it's been running for days and days and days. It will send you a notification. So that was a benefit. We're also talking about, there is the yearly maintenance fee for the software for Itron and ComEd. We figured out we'd have to probably do a surcharge to cover that, but I think it's going to be under 50 cents a month per resident. So I think that's very, very doable. Brad did order the new 40 meters for Fairwinds.
Right, 59, I think it was.
Oh, was it
or
59?
58, whatever we had as far as the number of lots we have for Fairwinds Phase 4. We're looking at putting in these, they're not mechanical, they're ultrasonic meters to try them up there so we can see how they work and have a whole section of the community that are that way. Because the cost of the meter isn't any more expensive than what we're doing now. So it's just a matter of, where we have new ones, we're trying to put those in and try them out. Didn't mean to interrupt.
So this is good technology. My son just moved into Sugar Grove, and they called him and said that he had a leak in his house. This is what those meters do. And immediately could go up and check all of his toilet tanks, found a leak, fixed it, saved them probably quite a bit of money. So we do know that one of the areas that we have to look at is Sandhurst. That's an area that definitely needs to have its meters replaced first because of the type of meter that's up there. So I think this is something we should pursue. Certainly, we can't afford all these meters at one time, so I think we need a phase-in process. And Don, did you take a look at that at all, how that might work for us?
Well, we were, I think our most prudent thing to do would be to at least get the software up and going, so we can then use those 59 to see how it's tracking. I think the other side benefit we'll have is that we could then move forward, and number one, it's going to save us a lot of man hours that we're currently spending, and those man hours could be used for something else. But it can also move us forward to do monthly billing, which would actually solve our landlord issues with people moving out and before they give them back their deposit, and the other thing is, we're reading about once luckily, what, once a month, if that, every 6 weeks? Yeah. Well, yeah, well,
Once a quarter.
yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I was trying to be nice, but anyway, these things will actually report 4 times a day. And that's where we get the flow rate. If something's been on or something's going, it can set off an alert. So I think our best, in my opinion, course of action would be to move forward with the software and get that and going and in place. And then what I'm told from the current radios is right now they're in like drive-by mode. Those can be then just reprogrammed to go up to the cloud or to the Wi-Fi. And I think we could then start looking at probably our newer homes out by you. We don't have to worry about lead line, Webb, Fairwinds, I mean, and get them switched over, and then deal with the bigger issue is we got to replace a meter up north. Well, then number one is the B-box working. Number two, it's probably lead lined, and that opens up a snowball. Like, we got to deal with them separately. So.
And this included the meter readers, correct? New ones?
Yes, basically the way it works is there's a meter, there's a radio that goes with the meter when you swap those out. And then separately, as Don's talking about with the software, we've got a sunset on our software currently that'll be about a year before that's completely discontinued. And then there's also purchasing 3 different readers now that you can then either take it in the truck with you, you can use it, take it with you, or what have you. So those are good to have as well. But that's kind of step one, is the stuff that is mandatory that we need to do. But then we'd like to be able to begin implementing this where as we're buying meters, we're buying this type of meter and that we can get those in. Where the real cost on this would be is if we are really serious about getting to a monthly billing cycle, is we'd probably need to find a way to get these installed. We'd have to have a company that either made the appointment and made the installation, or we'd have to hire at least a couple people full-time to be doing just that, in order to try and get that done in, let's say, a year or 18 months. And if we did that, it would be a huge expense, but it would be something that would bring us current at least, so we could be on a monthly billing cycle. It would really help our customer service, because right now if we have a leak, people don't know about it until 3 months later. And that's really unfortunate for them, and it's unfortunate for us, because those are resources we shouldn't just have run away from us. We also believe, in addition to the customer service, that it will have an impact on our staff. We estimate that currently we spend about 40 to 60 man-hours a month collecting, just getting our meters read. And if we can do this where we're not having to spend that staff time to go out and do those, that'll help it. And then the other thing that we spend probably just real close to the same amount of time on is what we call go-backs, when we have high or low reads. That, it doesn't seem like something's right. It's either not working properly or it's over-reading it and there's a leak. So if we can cut back on staff time with that, where if in the morning they come in and they see that there's 3 houses that are irregular, they can go take care of those now instead of waiting 3 months, having people unhappy about it, and then having to be reactive versus proactive. So there is a big cost here, but the hope would be that over time we'd be able to recoup some of that cost, because we would be replacing meters that are running slowly. We'd be able to help with the customer service, and then hopefully cut back on the amount of time that our staff is doing those types of things, so that then they can be reassigned to do things more proactive, as far as, exercising valves and doing things like that are more preventative maintenance.
In our package, there was a whole thing called Itron Bidder 2. And I wanted to point out, when you get a chance to look at that closely again, is on page 15, where it is complete system monitoring. That's something our staff could look at in the morning, and it's almost like, ooh, 3 of them popped up. Well, I just automatically made my work order. Let's go see what's going on. I think that's very advantageous until, the way things are now, we don't know for it for a very long time, and we're just wasting water, so.
Anyone object to this moving forward?
Well, I have a question. Is this through ComEd too?
ComEd will be part of that too.
All right, so when we had that big spiel with them, if I remember right, that was gonna cost us a crap ton of money for just the ComEd portion. Am I not mistaken?
There was
That's separate than what we're talking about with the water meters and that service, correct?
yes, there is, where'd you have that worksheet, Jeff?
The worksheet?
I mean, yeah, they broke out the cost.
Oh, it's on the second page of a memo here.
Which one was that?
I think the
It
part you were talking
originally
about.
was what you were talking about, the initial, if I remember back from our May, was like $80,000 to get this thing off the ground. They went back and re-looked at it because our size of our community, or like 2,700, they were charging us for like they would charge Arlington Heights. Totally different concept. So that got dropped to including the software, implementation, cloud setup, 80 hours of training. The customer portal was $71.88. ComEd is $6,000. That $13,000, that's reoccurring. That's where we would do I would just say a service charge, extra 50 cents per homeowner per month to help cover that yearly cost. I mean, 50 cents, I mean, you know. So it comes out to be, to get the software up and going and the current handheld raters, we're looking at $59,621.08 to get this moving forward. And those 59 new ones will be our test bed that's going into Fairwinds. And we'll learn as we go.
Correct me if I'm wrong, some of the newer meters that we have now do the same thing as what these ones will do.
Correct. Yes, some of
Why
them
ain't
will.
we sticking with what we have if they do the same thing?
Well, the electrostatic meters are it's just a different meter. We can still use the same meter if it's new and our problem is a lot of them are older and need to be replaced. The ones that have just been installed, you can just go ahead and change the radio on it and just do a portion of it. It doesn't have to be the full amount, so.
If I remember right, right now, it's like drive-by mode. They flash the firmware or whatever, and it goes to radio mode or web mode or whatever.
Well, any of the ones, the 500Ws or whatever the radio that they had told us, those can be read either by a drive-by or they can be read with this system. So it works either way, and that's part of the reason that we felt like we could go ahead and move forward with some of these and get those out there, is that they'll work for now and they'll work for later. And
We're only buying the 500s now. Yeah,
we're trying to, yes.
yeah.
We're trying to just go with the ones that'll be more versatile going forward. And we'll have to make a decision on some of those if there are meters that, the difference is that these are ultrasonic, the ones that are gonna go in out at Fairwinds. The others are mechanical. And the mechanical ones, as they age, they tend to drop off in accuracy. Whereas these, when these go out, they're gone.
Yeah, either they work
Know
or
that
they
they're
don't
dead
work.
And there's nothing left.
So
of them.
right now, if I call the water department and say, hey, I need a new meter because something ain't working right? What are they gonna bring me right now?
Well, we still have some in stock.
Yeah, we're trying to use up the ones
But
we've
we
got.
can
But
still use the same radio. We're gonna get a mechanical.
Is it mechanical or is it?
The new ones we have on the shelf right now are still mechanical.
Okay.
But it's the radio that's really the key.
Right.
And that's the one we can do drive-by or switch it and go to the cloud. So,
So in reality, it's a two-step process. First step is to get to the better type of meter, and then secondarily to that, it's to get to the better radio transmitting side of the house.
Except the radio could go before the.
Correct, yeah, could
We
potentially go
can
to that.
retrofit older ones
But
with
what we're
it,
talking
but-
about tonight specifically is just switching to the newer style meters, get the new Itron software and
Yes.
the handhelds.
Correct.
But it's not on the agenda to vote in the next meeting, right?
No.
Okay. So,
It's-
As you can see, Fred, we still need to put all the real final numbers and make sure. it
yeah,
matches
yeah,
up.
I did, I was a little confused because I got that information, I read it, and the numbers weren't quite matching. Real quick though, have we ever bench tested our meters to see how accurate they are, so that it's just not a salesperson saying that over the course of time, it's gonna slow down to X amount of ratio?
I have never bench tested anything,
Yeah,
but
But the
so
city
I'm-
does.
I've
I
been
think
told,
we'd- And has that shown true, that they're slowing down to the rate that it's 50%?
I don't know that it's that much, but I do know that,
Again, but when they do, Brad has told me, when they have replaced a meter, for whatever reason, all of a sudden they get a complaint going, wait a minute, I'm using, it's saying I'm using twice the water that I was using before. Well, yeah, the other meter was dying,
Sure.
slowing down.
Yeah, I don't doubt that they slow down, I just found that number to be a little,
I mean, that's on the far end of the scope. I mean, we still, if we're even losing 30%, we're losing 30%.
I would hope that we were matching our meter output to our collection, and then that would show what our differential is, to show what that percentage would be, but that happened in Plano a few years ago, and the FBI got involved, so let's not have that happen here.
So I think if anyone has other questions, that's fine. We'll come back with a full cost for the program and more of a sequence and scope and timing of that, and then we'll be ready for next meeting. And if you do want anybody to come talk about the meters, we can have any of the water department people here as well, or Brad. Okay, next item is B. This is renewal for our Blue Shield HMO PPO plans. You would have had that conversation 2 weeks ago. We would have seen the renewal rate. But it came in, it was blended rate, 7.5% increase over the prior year. So that's up for discussion. It will be up for council to approve that at the next meeting, something we have to take action on so we can move forward with our employee plan and program options. Any questions on the premium renewal? Okay. Item C is discussion on the Pratt Road Bridge recommended Phase 3 engineering. Jeff, you want to cover that?
sure.
Or
Kurt, do you want to do it?
Kurt?
It's all right, I'll take care of it. We did a qualifications-based selection process as required when we're doing IDOT contracts. We received 2 submittals, one from Fairgraham of Rockford and one of Hampton, from Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick of Elgin. We went through, we scored them. Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick, we scored a bit higher, primarily because we are somewhat familiar with how they've done work. The final average was 69 for Fairgraham and 93 for Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick. Because they've been involved with the project with Pratt Road, they're familiar with it, and based on the rubric that we used, that's who we would recommend authorizing to do the construction engineering for that project. If you recall, that's supposed to go out and be bid. I believe it's November, or it's the first part of November, so we want to get that done. So basically, at this point, we're just asking that the mayor's authorized to get a proposal from them so that we can bring it for our next council meeting to approve that construction engineering for the Pratt Road Bridge.
Okay, questions on the project? All right, moving on to D, discussion of the code of ethics for elected officials and city staff.
It sounded like we wanted to talk more about that at our last meeting. We didn't move forward with our, and I thought I'd included it, just a sample code of ethics from something else. If he didn't, then we can move forward. But we didn't go with the civility pledge last time. It sounded like we wanted to do something that was more in depth. I did not receive anything else from anyone, so I guess it's more, where do we want to go with this?
To be honest, I didn't think we needed to go anywhere. I was just making a point that I didn't think the civility thing fit, and I didn't think it, again, if people are in a position like this, they should try most of the time to, act appropriately. You know, it's a struggle sometimes for people, whether it's us up here or people in the audience, and especially when you're passionate about what you're talking about or what you believe in. So, but again, trying to respect others, but at the same time, just like if it was a kid in school, you still got a right to defend yourself. You're not just gonna take it.
City staff, that was due from last time though, wasn't it?
Pardon me?
Last time, the civility pledge was for council, this adds staff onto this, right? The way I read the agenda?
Right, if we wanted to do one for staff, we could do that.
Well, I'd hope they're ethical.
We're trying. I do
I can't
follow
remember
one
what's in the
from,
personnel policy.
I
so.
do follow a separate one with ICMA and
Everybody's
different things
human.
like that, but, all right.
All right, item E, discussion of professional services for EI to begin the design engineering for the Railroad Street Water Plant decommissioning and the Clark Street Water Plant improvements. All right, so you would have got a nice memo about some pictures that show status of the building. We do have a structural engineer that we use from time to time through HLR, going to come take a look at the building. Have they been out yet, Jeff? I think the architect did.
We had the structural engineer out last week, had an architect look at it. It's been shored back up, but that's still a temporary repair on that building for the Railroad Street Water Treatment Plant. So this is something that has been discussed for quite some time after the master plan was completed. I believe that was late last year or early this year. One of the primary things that we had identified was that we need to relocate the water treatment plant operations from the Railroad Street treatment plant to the Clark Street Water Treatment Plant. So that's basically what this proposal is to do the design engineering to make that happen. Just so everybody's aware, there are 2 wells that are over on that piece of property at the Railroad Street Water Treatment Plant. We have well 1, which is inside the building. Well 2 is in a little shed or smaller building outside. The water from well 2 actually gets processed through the Railroad Street plant. The water from well 1 is piped to the Clark Street plant and treated there. So it's raw water that runs over there, then it's treated and distributed over there. We also have a 3rd well over by the Clark Street plant, very close to the old police department. That one we use rather sparingly. There's some, the radium in that well is a little higher than what the IEPA says we can use on a regular basis. So part of this project is to be able to treat that water and get the radium out of it so that we can be using it on a regular basis. So the idea would be, the bulk of the project is taking everything then from well 1 into getting raw water over to the Clark Street plant, in addition to water from well 3, and be able to treat all of it there. So there are some improvements that need to happen, additional filters, and what they call an HMO system to be able to take the radium out of the water for well 3. So this is something that's been discussed during that master plan process. We've been back and forth for probably 6 months about trying to get this before the council. And given the conditions that we've seen with the water treatment plant there, we really do need to get this done. They're saying it could be a 6 to 9 month process, 6 months at least for permitting, and then probably 9 months by the time we get the engineering done. So I don't know if we want to put some kind of an expectation on this as to how quickly we get it done. A lot of this is a project that was submitted last year to the state for the state revolving loan fund. We were not awarded the ability to borrow those funds at that point in time, but that's a low interest loan through the state. We would look to reapply for that this coming year. And a big part of that is having this shovel ready and having the engineering ready, or very close to ready when we apply for that. So that's the reason it's coming to you now, and really the urgency that goes along with it.
So, yeah, 2 key pieces, safety of the building and its integrity. And in fact, we have 2 wells in that area. I do agree with Jeff. I think when we did the original loan process, we did not have the phase 1 or phase 2 engineering done, and we might have had some different results, maybe. But we still need to move forward regardless. The amount is $308,381, of which I think $300,000 is in the budget. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that at least get us started through this process. Ultimately, we have to do it. There aren't really any options on this because the building itself needs to be resolved, and we need to come up with a better solution for our water system. All right, questions on the proposal?
Not on the proposal, but in the information we were given as far as keeping water off the current roof and whatnot, the photos that we were given, I don't see a roof drain up there. Are we looking at possibly putting in temporary roof drain to try and keep?
That's part of what we are looking at, is trying to figure out what can we do. That drains, the roof on that building actually is to drain to the north where there are gutters. It's just for whatever reason, we don't know, we had to repair a pipe in the building, and we don't know if when jackhammering the floor or whatever, but it seems like things slid a little bit and that water remained on the roof, and that exacerbated the problem. So, yes, we're looking at trying to find some short-term solutions that will hopefully prolong that long enough to be able to get this project done.
Okay, other questions?
Well, it looks like we got 3 big holes on that roof there from that one picture.
Those were drilled
Oh, those were drilled.
to be able to release the water from the roof and take the weight off of it. So those have already been tarred back.
Well, I was just wondering, since it's already leaking there, if we put a trough underneath it and just gutter it out. I mean, it's simple, but it's not simple. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, and that's part of what that's what we're wrestling with, is trying to figure out the best way to go forward. I mean, as we said, we did have it out, and there is additional cribbing that's been installed to secure it for now, but it's certainly not what we would consider a long-term repair.
Well, I'm worried about getting snow and ice up there and this freezes, and that's leaking with water. Ice expands when it freezes, and we could lose the whole east wall.
You're right, and I have had conversations with an architect about,
Okay.
and the structural engineer. We're supposed to be getting something back from Steve at EEI with regard to some things that we can do to try and reinforce those. Right now, it's kind of pushing some of those walls out. We're looking at some ways to be able to reinforce that, tie those back together, and give it a little more structural support to get us through, a winter or two.
Okay, other questions? Well, we kind of already talked about F, which is the treatment plant repairs, right? E and F.
Yes.
Okay, then we had a conversation last week about e-bikes and low-speed vehicles. We did find a sample ordinance on IML that's just there for you to read tonight. There will be no action. Just to start get some feedback if that's the route we want to go with. The one you have is for scooters. That's the first one they have available, and then we'll move on to e-bikes. So that's just informational for council. Any comments?
Yes, since I'm the one that brought it up, I had no interest of anything to do with the electric bikes or the scooters. Specifically had to do with the golf carts and the low-speed vehicles. And I know on the agenda and on that draft ordinance, it says e-bikes and other low-speed vehicles, but it doesn't address any low-speed vehicles. All it addresses is the e-bike.
Yeah, we don't have a sample for that yet. That's free. So
There's
we're
no
starting
need,
with
though.
start with the scooters, then we'll cover e-bikes, then we'll do the
But the
low-speed.
state law covers it, so there's no need for an ordinance. What I had brought up was the fact that the state, in their infinite wisdom with the low-speed vehicles, gave their blessing that they could operate in any community. It is up to the community, as I said 2 weeks ago, to pass an ordinance or a resolution prohibiting them. That was the point that I brought it up.
In the same conversation, the chief had reservations about scooters and e-bikes, so we might as well look at them all at the same time, so we're not doing multiple ordinances unless we have to.
Well, Rich makes a good point. I mean, and I don't know if everybody saw the memo that I sent today. We did some additional research. I mean, if the local government determines that public safety will be jeopardized, then we can pass an ordinance stating that they are not allowed, whether they're plated or not, is my understanding.
So we still have to go back and determine what public safety might be jeopardized.
Right. And the e-bikes, that's also been there's been a lot of discussion about it in other places as to how those, how those are governed and different things. So it was kind of, we're already talking about the golf carts. Let's
Get it all done.
pull it all together and see if we need to do this differently.
Well, I guess my point would be with those bikes, and I think that's what the chief was mentioning, is that it's very difficult to tell the difference between those three bikes. And that's kind of the issue, and that's where the problem lies, is, you know, ever since they came into existence, some have to do with the speed, some have to do with the size of engine and things like that. Again, the reason I was bringing up the golf carts is because we're not a golf cart community. So, but with the low-speed vehicles, like I said, I didn't realize this went back to like 2000, I want to say it was like 2005 or 2010. I don't even remember exactly when it was. Maybe it wasn't that long ago. But the fact that the state allows it and that they're registering them, you know, yeah, there's requirements, but who is it that's checking to make sure that they have all these things, that they have the registration? I don't think anybody is. So I think you say you've got a golf cart and you've got the brake lights and the turn signals and the whatever, and you take your title for it or whatever it is, the show in the bin or whatever, and they're issuing you this low-speed vehicle plate for it, and now you can operate in your town. But again, all of the vehicle code things are in effect. So as far as whether or not somebody's wearing a seatbelt or not, I mean, that would be a safety thing.
Lights,
I'm sorry?
lights.
Lights, all of that. And so, you know, again, not knowing who's registering it, I'm just saying, you know, you're gonna end up with a lot of them. Right, excuse me, right now, I think we have a few in town. And again, it's a matter of, you know, do we want to do that or do we not want to do it? If we don't want to do it, it's very simple. We just pass a resolution saying that we don't allow them in town, and it's done. So we don't have to.
Yeah, consensus, we want to move that to legal, to start drafting something for that.
I mean, anybody can do a resolution.
Well, it has to be an ordinance.
No, it doesn't. It says,
If you want to make
Enforceable.
if you want to make it not permissible to have, then it needs to be an ordinance, so then it would be a violation of ordinance.
state law says you can do it by ordinance or resolution. I mean, look up the.
I think
statute.
I think our code only lets you enforce the ordinance with a fine, though. I don't know of any resolution we pass that has a
Yeah.
fine attached.
Well, I think our code,
I mean, I'm looking at the code and it says
what code?
ordinance. The one you're referencing, 625 ILCS 5/11-1426.2, operation of low-speed vehicles on streets.
D.
Yep.
And it just says that upon adoption of an ordinance or resolution.
I guess, but your code says that the laws are in
What code?
your municipal code.
I'm
Says
talking about state law. So I guess I don't understand where you're at,
to make it prohibited
right?
pursuant to your code, you have to put it in your code.
If we do a resolution, that's not allowed.
Resolutions aren't part of your code, which are online. Resolutions are something essentially more or less for the clerk to keep
Directive.
track of. Resolutions aren't posted everywhere for people to see, so it would have to be in a place that's everywhere to see, so it would be
Well, I
in
would
the
think-
ordinances.
I would think somebody got a state citation for operating a low-speed vehicle in town that we don't permit it.
How are they gonna know that?
What do you mean, how are they?
How
gonna
is
know?
the officer going to issue the state citation? What is the violation going to be of?
That we don't allow it.
Right, usually it would be of section 27-952 of the municipal code. So they
Well-
need a place to reference it, and the people need to be on record knowing where it is.
If we write
I
a
mean, you guys can do what you
resolution
want.
or an ordinance, either way, we're paying to have that done. My thing is, if it's an ordinance, it goes in the code book, and then it's enforceable and comes with a fine to it at the municipal level.
There's a lot of things we have in the ordinance book that aren't enforced, and I guess that was the whole point of me bringing this up to begin with, is enforcement or no enforcement. That's why we didn't have the regular golf cart ordinance or side-by-side or whatever go through, because lots of concern with enforcement and people taking advantage of things, so.
Safety, other part of that was safety.
I'm just going by what the law says. So if it would be an ordinance, again, it would be a pretty generic ordinance that we don't allow it, but it would be enforced by writing a ticket. I guess you could do it if you wanted to provide money for the city, do it in an ordinance violation, but if you wanted to put some sting to it, I'd probably do it as a state citation, so it would really affect them. Wouldn't that make sense?
Is that-
Because it'd be a moving violation at that point, rather than
I
an
have-
ordinance violation where someone is gonna pay a fine.
I guess I haven't gotten that far to see whether or not the state is going to require that they enforce the rules of the local government. It does say that we can prohibit it, but I don't specifically see. I have to look at it in greater depth to determine if the state would proceed on that.
I guess I'm not understanding what you mean. I've read through it, that's why I brought it up to begin with.
So you're saying that you believe that the officer could write the
It-
violation for,
If we said it's not permitted in town, yes.
it would be of this section?
I think you could write it,
See, that's what I don't know, and I can't say right now as I'm sitting here without looking into it.
well,
Why don't we just research it and we have an answer?
well, I
2 weeks.
had researched it, and I had where it said authorized local changes to state low-speed vehicle rules, and it's under C of that section. Department of Transportation or municipality, township, county, blah, 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 where the speed limit's 30 miles per hour or less. Talks about the public safety be in jeopardy. So again, I don't know why it wouldn't be enforced.
Because I guess my question is if it's a moving violation, I don't do criminal law. My understanding is usually it shall be a violation of the, state statute to do X, Y, Z, and it would be punishable by class A, B, C, D, E, whatever misdemeanor or felony. And there's nothing in this section that addresses that. So that's why,
Well, it talks
I'm-
about all standard traffic laws apply, the operation of low-speed vehicle upon
I
any
just can't
street,
tell you without looking into it.
subject to the provisions of Chapter 11 of this code concerning the rules of the road and applicable local ordinances.
Right, so it would be a violation of the local ordinance, not a violation of state statute.
No, it would be a violation of Chapter 11, which is going to be the moving violation, as opposed to 12, that would be equipment, 3, that would be registration, 6, that would be licensing.
So you'd rather see it applied to their license as
No,
a?
not necessarily, but what
No, but when you said
well, it shouldn't be an argument as far as,
I'm not arguing, I'm just getting clarification. I
Not-
mean,
not-
if
not
we
you,
find
Mayor.
them, it comes back to us, and you can find them multiple times, so it becomes a monetary penalty. Are you indicating, Rich, just so I understand, that you wanted a moving violation so it goes against their license? or-
no, I'm not even indicating that.
It just has more of a
I'm-
bite to it?
I'm indicating that everything doesn't have to be just through city code or whatever. If there's already applicable law that applies, just like the bicycles or whatever, I think, again, why are we reinventing the wheel? It's a waste of time.
So I think what Rich is saying is an ordinance versus a resolution, right? Those two things pointing back to the state law, right?
That's what I thought, because
Is your mic on?
the state themselves, no. The state themselves were saying the ordinance is a resolution, but when our city attorney is saying that, no, it has to be an ordinance, well, why the hell is the state why are they saying that it can be an ordinance or a resolution? That's the thing, but everything that
Do you really want me to
Well,
answer a
brought up
question
is
about
not-
that?
I was gonna say, that's a very loaded question, but so in general, from what I understand, resolutions are generally more on a temporary nature. So I suppose if you did have a resolution that said for the weekend of XYZ, they weren't permitted, but if you wanted to completely eliminate their use, it would need to be via ordinance. And like I said, I can't speak because I'm not, involved much in criminal law of whether or not the violation could be of this section 11-1426.2. It doesn't look like other criminal codes that I have seen or like other violations, but I can look into that, certainly.
Well,
But
it's obviously a new section.
Yes.
And so, I mean, it's, changing like everything else, and just like the e-bikes will, and as there's more issues or problems, I'm sure it will expand even more. So, and again, I'm one of 8, so if there's 5 or more that say that, no, they think it's a good idea and we should have it, it's a moot point anyway. I'm just bringing it up for discussion, but.
Okay.
Well, I think it's a good discussion because how we're going to implement it and enforce it is a really important part. If it's an ordinance violation, we see that our adjudication program is, it's fine, but it doesn't always have the teeth that we're looking for. And if we're serious about it, that it may be worthwhile looking at it from a moving violation perspective. So we can do some more research on that.
Okay. Item H is a possible agreement for professional services with EEI for additional support on Main Street. Kurt had talked about that earlier, so that's that item. Reports of alderpersons, Alderman Arnett.
I got a couple things tonight. First is, I had talked to Denise the other day, at our last city council, we had outside counsel on the agenda, and it was tabled, and it was asked, how long would you like to be tabled? I specifically asked for it to be brought back at this meeting. And once again, it's not on the agenda.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be on the agenda, but it could be. You can still have that discussion. This is all.
We can have a discussion all we want, but if it's not on this agenda, it's not on the voting agenda, I mean,
I don't know exactly what happened with regard to that, but I think that at the last meeting, we had talked about, you guys are welcome to proceed, I guess, with doing that, but if you want to authorize or make any sort of agreement, it's gonna have to be specific. So I think that
get authorization from all of us saying that we want to get outside counsel. We're not,
Well, that's what I'm saying, you can go ahead and take the consensus, you don't have to take I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be done in a formal motion. If you're going to go look into it, bring back the information that would formally be voted on, right? Because you can't vote on, let's go, you need to bring back, who, the information about hourly rates and all that stuff, so.
can't go do that unless we have a
Yeah,
consensus of
and
everybody
you might
doing
want to
it.
agree to the process and.
So I guess that's what you need to just ask. Does everybody want to do that?
Right, and that's, I guess, yeah, that's the question, is that what you guys want to do?
So my understanding was, is it doesn't have to be on the agenda. Would have been probably nicer if it's still there, but you can still take it off the table and have the discussion on it. It's not binding, because you still have to go through a process. It's just, I thought it was more dialogue because there wasn't enough consensus that night if you wanted to continue with the discussion.
no, I actually specifically asked for it to be placed on this week's agenda. But then there's other things I've asked to be put on the agenda. It's gone again. So move on from that. As council, we can call each other one-on-one, no OMA, find out where council feels we need to go about it. I personally would be in favor for it, just to see where we can go with it. Second thing I would like to talk about is water shutoffs. And we've talked about ordinance going forward with landlords and us putting the onus of the water bill onto landlords versus the resident living in the property. And the reason I bring this up is running across some homes now that, as Denise said, we have several shut-offs that were scheduled, but we have B-boxes we can't shut off. And we have 700 to 800 rental homes here in town. So there's a possibility that a lot of these homes that we're attempting to shut off are rentals. A lot of those are possibly lead service lines. It's where if we dig that B-box up, we've now affected that line, and we have 30 days to replace it. I had talked to a couple people about this, and I know the talk at the last council was, you know, if we're paying for one, we're paying for all. But where I stand out in this is I don't feel it's right for the residents of Sandwich to supplement a for-profit property. I don't think the residents of Sandwich should pay for a water line into a home where someone's making profit off of it. And that's something I would like us as a council to discuss. We shouldn't be subsidizing this. And if we're finding out these water lines, some of these shut-offs are to rentals, we really need to bring this ordinance up and put the onus of the water bill onto the landlord. We've got to get all these rentals nailed down.
Okay, other comments?
I agree with that, Adam. I do. I think that's got to be done.
You made an interesting point. I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
You make a very good point.
Do you want council to move forward to draft something then? Council?
Yes, I'd like to see if we can't get some type of ordinance written up and get moving forward with it. Because that's, once again, us being proactive versus reactive. If we go replacing 10, 15 water lines and we find out that we're only paying for a water line into a for-profit home, it's not fair to the residents of Sandwich to be paying for that.
Okay. Sounds like we have consensus. We'll move that to an ordinance form. All right, anything else, Adam? All right, Alderman Chun,
I don't have anything at this time.
Alderman Danko,
I don't have anything more right now because there's already 3 water issues under new business. I think that's enough.
good for the month. Alderwoman Erickson,
I don't have anything right now.
Alderwoman Inman,
I just want to remind everybody, no burning on Halloween.
you. Alderman Ketchum,
Nothing, nothing right now.
Alderman Cranbrink. I do have one thing for you. Alderwoman Erickson had asked that as the chair of the Budget Committee, that after 6 months of financials are done, that you call a meeting just to review the status of the budget.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. And actually, Jeff brought up one of my questions for this evening is talking about the tax levy. And so looks like we'll be crunching some numbers here in the next couple meetings. So that's good. I didn't have anything else really to talk about other than I was going through the website and I was trying to find the financial reports. Have we been posting those on the website, Jeff? I can't seem to find them, and I would like to make sure that we have those up, and because there was a lot of conversation after the last meeting about numbers maybe not matching and this and that. If you take the dollars and the cents and you look at them, I mean, it's all expressed out onto into those spreadsheets that we've had and that sort of thing, and I think it'll paint a better picture for the public to be able to visualize that. I mean, it's in the meetings and everything that we have here and handouts and so forth, but it's probably better just to have it out there for everybody to look at. That's all I have.
Okay. Alderman Robinson?
Just to add to what Janelle was saying in reference to the burning on Halloween, just burning ordinance in general, springtime and fall time, now that leaves are starting to fall. People are gonna start burning the leaves, but we do have it limited to the time frame that you can do it in town in the days of the week. Also nuisance burning, things that are smoldering. Wet leaves, green grass, things like that aren't allowed. Stuff needs to be dry. And obviously with the change of weather and everything and a little bit of rain, stuff's not gonna be dry at 9 o'clock in the morning for people to be burning in town. So just a reminder.
Yeah, I did meet with our code enforcement officer, and I informed him he'd be working what I call a differentiated schedule, so he will not be following the same 12 to 4, 12 to 5. He'll also have some daytime assignments, weekends, and holidays and special events.
Sounds good.
Okay, yep. Any announcements? Denise, Jeff? Audience comments? Motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Alderman Robinson, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Erickson, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?